Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Ryan and Grant for another episode of Grant Teach Me Something.
What's up, y'all?
So, have you ever been in an appointment or going to a house and you're like, in your negotiating mind, you're like, man, I really wish I knew how much these people owed on their house, because then I would maybe know how to negotiate better or know where to start or whatnot. And sometimes when you flat out say, how much do you owe? And their response is, what does that matter?
Right.
What do you care how much I owe? That's a little personal, don't you think? So today, Mr. Grant the Oracle Kemp, I don't know.
I'm going to start going by that. Change my name.
Please don't.
Be like Chad Ochocinco.
There you go. Grant's going to show us how you can fairly accurately determine how much somebody owes on their property without even talking to them.
Yeah. This is a cool trick to have because it's one of those things that, especially as I was getting going in the business, was really important to me to have it as a tool in my pocket because, you know, like you said, sometimes you can be a little bit nervous about asking what people owe. Now, I will say, to the point that I talk about all the time in negotiations, a lot of times with this, it's just ask them. If you just ask them confidently what's going on, they will probably tell you. If you're just like, okay, so what do you owe? You know, they're like, oh, well, I owe about blah, blah, blah. It's very rare that they won't tell you that. But I understand when you're doing due diligence on a property, and a lot of guys that are watching, a lot of you people that are watching right now are you people. Yeah, I know. Sorry. I said guys, and then I was like, well, that's very gender specific. Maybe I should just say you people, and that didn't work out well.
How dare you? How dare you assume I identify as human?
So a lot of you folks that are watching right now are, earlier on in the career, and this can really give you some confidence. It can really give you that extra boost when you're talking to your seller to just kind of know in the back of your mind what they owe on their house, because then if you know that they owe 80 on it and they're asking for 120, you've got some room to work with, right?
Right.
So it's just another one of those things that's going to be beneficial. Now, what I'm going to be showing you here today is also going to benefit you with searching through people's title to see, hey, do these guys have liens on their property, anything like that?
Yeah, because usually, depending on what scale of operation you're in, the school I came from is very different than, like, to say the school Daniel came from. Because I remember doing a couple deals with him. He's like, well, just search for title. I'm like, well, that's what the title company's for, right? And he's like, no, you can go to public records and get an accurate a fairly accurate look of what's going on in their title history. And that blew my mind. So again, and this was like 6 months ago. So it goes back to that central theme of always keep learning. Don't ever think you know everything, because when you think you know everything, you're done in this business.
Absolutely.
So hopefully you're going to show us how to do that as well.
Yeah, well, that's probably going to be another episode, and I just made a note here because that will be a good episode of just pure title search. Now, I'm going to touch on it today with what we're talking about, and you can kind of infer the rest of it, but I'm not going to dive as deep into let's look at these different types of title issues you might need to cure. But to that note, I mean, the fact that I know how to search title myself and not rely on a title company, last year there was one house in particular I'm thinking of. I made about a $63,000 profit on this house because the lead came in. What was the last holiday that we had? Was it Memorial Day that just happened?
Yes.
It was the Memorial Day weekend last year that it popped in, and it was the Friday before. And they were going to foreclosure that next week. And so there was like no time to let a title company take hold of this, right? Literally the lead came in Friday, and the foreclosure was going to be happening a week from then, and the Monday was off.
Right.
But because I knew how to search.
Yeah, and the risk there is if you take it without a title search and all of a sudden there's a $1.5 million lien, well, guess what you just assumed?
Right.
Which would be a bad day.
That would be a bad day. But because I knew how to search title, I was able to cure all the title issues, which there were a ton of on this deal. Get it all done, get it pulled from foreclosure, get it all taken care of, and made about $62,000 because of knowing how to do that title search. So maybe we do that next week. But again, you'll be able to infer a lot of that from what we're talking about today. But what we're going to do here, just to give you kind of a brief overview of what we're looking at, and then we'll dive into the computer and I'll show you some screen grabs of how we're actually going to be going about doing that. Now, I'm going to use Dallas County as our example because we're here in Dallas County, but I'll also be talking to you throughout this time of like, hey, if you want to, whatever, if you want to find this in Tarrant County, look up Tarrant County. If you want to Bexar County, look up Bexar County. You know, I'll show you how to do that kind of thing. But what we're going to do first is we're going to find their address on the county CAD, the Central Appraisal District. That's where you pay your taxes. I typically look for pay blank taxes online, pay Bexar County taxes online, pay whatever county taxes online. Bexar, yeah.
Sorry.
It's kind of like the comptroller. By the way, if you see comptroller, it's pronounced controller. You'll sound smarter to the people that know. C-O-M-P, troller. It's controller. Anyway, Bexar, Bear. Now I lost my track. Oh, so we're going to find it in the county CAD. We're going to look up whatever county CAD, pay county CAD taxes online. The reason why I'm saying that is because there's going to be multiple tax sites a lot of times. There's multiple CADs, and one of them will show you like what amount is owed for that year, and one of them will not. Now, the fortunate thing that we have as we're getting more advanced in you know, age here is that more and more counties are coming online and giving us some calculators that are going to help us out with that kind of stuff. But our first step is going to be find the county CAD, find the address. The reason why we're looking at the CAD is that the CAD is going to tell us their legal description. And you probably know that because when you're filling out your contract, you have to put like the legal description of the house, lot 4, block 20, whatever subdivision. We need that because we're going to put that into the county clerk's system. And that county clerk system is the public filing. That's where all of our public records are going to be filed. So by pulling that, we will be able to see when they got their mortgage, how much their mortgage was for when they got it, and then we're going to plug that number into a calculator to see what they owe roundabout right now. Yeah. I can typically get within a couple of $1,000s on what they owe, even if they're behind on payments. And one of the big reasons that is that way is because of how amortization works. The payments that are being made to these houses, very little of them is going towards principal anyway. So even if they're behind on payments, because you may be thinking like, well, we're never going to know what they owe because what if they're 10 months behind? Even if they're 10 months behind or if they're current, that might only be a difference of $800 on their principal. It's not gonna really affect that much. But we'll discuss that too. So that's kind of our overarching theme of what we're doing today. You got any questions before?
Well, I just want to say thank you for everybody watching. I know Lacey, Mark, Isaiah, Trenton, Elizabeth, DeMarcus, Kevin. Kevin was all saying slip the mortgage lender at 20, to find out information. I don't know if that's the best way to go.
Yeah, right.
Monica from Charlotte, thanks for watching. Miranda, congratulations, twins.
Twins, that's awesome. Yay, Miranda.
Yay!
Yay, Miranda and Daniel. Everybody give a like and a heart to Miranda and Daniel.
Give some love,
That's
fire
awesome.
emojis. Well, maybe not fire emojis.
Yeah, we
but
want
pregnant emojis.
Pregnant girl emojis.
Pregnant emojis.
Never is there a more applicable time for the pregnant girl emoji.
So if you don't know, Daniel and his wife, Miranda, they are pregnant with twins.
What a phenomenal,
lovely
awesome thing.
Give us some shares, give us some love. Also, we're going to be doing the book giveaway today. We're going to be doing 2 books because why not? We're going to be doing The Richest Dad, Poor Land. No, crap.
Rich Dad,
Poor Dad, and then also The Richest Man in Babylon. Those are 2 kind of staples for entrepreneurship and understanding money. And the way we're going to do that is a comment picker. So the more questions you ask, the more commentary, the more conversation you can engage in, the more pregnant emojis you drop, the higher opportunity and chance you'll be winning a book from us today. So if you have questions, join in. If you have comments, join in.
Yeah.
If you think Grant is the most handsomest person ever, let us hear it. All this is a conversation, so let's get into it.
Absolutely. And just as a quick, I saw Miranda ask, what happened to my disappearing house? I still don't know. We're still researching that. For those of you who aren't friends with me on Facebook or following Creative Cashflow, did you not see this? No. So go follow my Facebook, CreativeCashFlow.com. Look at the last live video that I did. Last week I went out to a house. This is just a side note.
Subtle plug!
Yeah, right? This is just a funny side note. But so I got word that like maybe one of these houses that I sold to somebody wasn't there anymore. And like straight up, I sold this house to this guy in like 2014, owner financed. And I go out to where the house used to be, and it's just a blank lot. Like, it's just gone.
Is he still making payments?
He's still making payments. So, like, I'm just not going to push the issue for now. But, yeah, it was like a 1950s build, 1,200 square foot frame house.
So he scraped it Or
scraped
moved it. The
city
city scraped it.
Yeah. Because apparently, when he bought it as is. He was an investor buying it from me. He was going to rent it out. He was going to fix it up, rent it out. And so he was supposed to fix it up. He didn't fix it up. The city came in, tore that hoe down, and it's gone.
But what kind of risk does that put you in?
A big one. I have no collateral.
Your demeanor is like, well, shit.
It's exactly like, I don't know. And that's on my, you go watch the Facebook Live video. It's funny because like.
He's like, I laugh because I don't want to cry.
Exactly what it is. I have no collateral anymore. I've got this like piece of land.
I just want to point out that it's like, owner finance is the best thing to slice bread unless they tear down the house.
So yeah, I think it goes without saying that is a very far edge case, that's not something that's normal that's going to happen, but that just goes to show. So like you said at the beginning, I'm going to tie this all together. Ryan was saying if you stop learning, if you feel like you've made it, then that's where you fail. Well, hey man, I'm years and years into this career. I've done a lot of houses and I'm still getting hit with new stuff like my house has been torn down. What do you do now? So I'll keep you guys updated on when I figure out how that goes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, look at there. It's a toss-up between Grant and Ryan on handsomeness today.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, sweet.
I'm okay with that.
All right. So
let's hop in here. Is that cool? We jump right in and
let's get into it.
doing
Hey, Paul from Houston, what's up?
This is going to be a very screenshot-heavy episode because we want to show you exactly the steps. Mm-hmm. How do you do this step by step from your computer at your house? So, step one, if we jump right in here.
Step one is Google your county CAD.
Step one is Google your county CAD. So what you're going to do is just say whatever county, like Dallas County CAD, and pop that up. Now, when you go here, on a lot of these central appraisal districts, when you click on this one, and ours included, you might have to kind of search around for how to find the properties on here, like search appraisals, all that kind of stuff. This is going to be one of those reasons why I like to say pay Dallas County property taxes. And so you can look at your tax office. Oh, did I skip over one? Anyway, and like click here to pay your taxes and search for your property. And a lot of times this will be what's going to show you, like address search, what you're needing to see, okay? So like if I say Rex, for instance. Dead
air. Nobody likes dead air.
Yeah, exactly. Then you're going to have some stuff pop up on different, streets that might match that name. Here's one. You can click on that, and it will tell you your address. It'll tell you your legal description. It'll tell you market value, land value, that kind of stuff. This is one reason why I wanted to pull this up, is that we actually, just to show you, have a couple of different ways that you can see that same information. This is also your Dallas Central Appraisal District, and you've got search appraisals. I always go by address, but this is a prime example of what I'm saying. Like, there's multiple places that your CAD is going to be available to you.
So just to recap, right now you've got two websites showing the same details. You have the Dallas County CAD, and then you also have the, hey, pay your money taxes here.
Pay your property taxes here, right. And so one of the reasons why this is also advantageous is that many counties in one of these, like ours, Dallas County is going to show us much of the same information on both, but there is a little bit of different information on each site.
Right.
Sometimes, you're going to see different information enough to where it's like, hey, the information I'm actually looking for isn't on this site. And you're going to be like, but Grant told me to look at the CAD. Well, continue searching for your other CAD site is what I'm getting at here. Because if you, just as an example here, like if I look at Rex on street name and I hit search, well, this is my view on this one. We're going to click on 813 Rex.
Because that's the one that does what you want it to do.
So here's the thing. I did do a little bit of research beforehand because I didn't want to get you guys some like super complicated, like, hey, there's title issues and there's 4 liens on this, blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to strip this down and make this a real simple explanation. So
Thanks, Ryan, for calling me out.
Yeah, it should peeling back the veil a little bit. I'm just going to randomly pick 813 because that's a good number.
That sounds fun.
So check this out. This is one thing that's important to note, and I'm just going to take a moment and talk about this here. In that, let me see, zoom that in for you guys. In this, I really like this view on our county CAD because if you look at the top, and this is somewhat of a little sidestep, but we need to understand how this stuff works as real estate investors. If you look at the top here, we've got a market value listed of 104. That says that the improvement, the house and everything is worth 82 and the land is worth 22 on tax. Now, one thing that we need to search for whenever we're looking about doing a deal that we're going to hold, whether it's long-term or doing like an owner finance deal or if it's a rental, something like that, you want to look right here at this line that says taxable value, okay? This line, the reason I'm pointing this out to you is that, yes, we've got this exemptions field right here, and I'll get into that in a second, but a lot of times, again, other county CADs don't show you that exemption field. They're just going to show you your taxable value. The way that you know if your house is it has exemptions called on it is that you'll notice that this taxable value right here, none of these say 114 or 104. Which is what they said our total value was.
Right.
The way that property taxes work their exemptions is that instead of changing the tax rate, they're going to change the amount of total value that they are multiplying that rate by for your house. So they said that the total value of this house was 104, but they're only going to charge as though it was worth 95, or as though it was worth 79, or as though it was worth 82. These are each different types of taxes that are being charged. So with the exemptions, this seller is only paying $23.75 with taxes, or with their exemptions. But if we're going to be holding this as a long-term hold, whether that's with owner financing or a rental or whatever, that's not the tax rate that you need to count on, because you are not going to be calling a homestead exemption, which is what this one has. If you go up to our exemptions, Dallas CAD is nice enough to show you we have a homestead exemption. But we need to know our non-exempted taxes. So I'm going to do that on another episode for you guys to show you how to actually calculate that out yourself, because that'll be another good thing for you to know. But go ahead.
What's taxes? Just kidding.
But what we're really the important thing that I wanted to pull from this site for this purpose of knowing what they owe today,
right,
is this legal description. This right here is what I need to know. And you guys can find that through like Realist Tax if you have access to that, or this is the way that everybody can find it, is through looking on this method here. Now, we're going to take that and we're going to insert that into our county clerk's website so that we can pull up everything that's been recorded in public record with this particular property. Okay? Now, that, again, is how you're going to search title. That's going to be...
And the county clerk website is different than the first two websites that we've already looked at?
The county clerk website is different. The county clerk is public records. The county CAD is your central appraisal district.
Got it.
That's who charges your taxes. Okay? So we're going to hop over and we're going to do a similar search. We're going to say Dallas County Clerk.
Would you use Google or Bing?
I would use Google.
Okay.
Is Bing still happening?
I don't know.
And so, like, we can click on that, and that should bring us to this picture. Now, what's the county for Houston?
Harris.
Harris.
I knew
thank
it.
you.
I knew something.
Good job. The Harris. Well, maybe. Yeah. The Harris County county clerk's guy's picture is. He looks like the type of dude that shows up to take your mom for a date and calls you sport a lot.
Calls you to what a lot?
Calls you sport a lot.
Oh, hey, sport.
Okay, so what we're looking for, and I'm just going to skip you forward on this, is like there's all kinds of stuff in this county clerk website that, things to happen. What we really want to do, a lot of counties are moving over to this system called Rome. And have been for many years. I say moving over as though it's not new. I mean, it's been there for many, many years. But more and more are grabbing onto that system. Rome is like a third-party software that they license their stuff to all these counties to allow people to search through their county CAD, their county clerk a little bit more easily. Different counties handle things different ways. Like Tarrant County is really good about, like, you can get everything for free off of Tarrant County. Tarrant County. But then when you start getting out into the sticks, lots of times those guys haven't digitized anything, right? So if you're moving out into the sticks, you may literally have to like search the county clerk's office for records if you're looking for title searches, that kind of stuff. But I'm going to click on Rome because I know, like, if you go to the county clerk and you just scroll across that page and you see Rome anywhere on there, go ahead and click on that because that's going to be what you're looking for. Now, Rome, like I said, it's a third party. It is free to sign up for. So you do need to register to have a username and password. But I already have that, and I have already logged us in.
Your password is password?
My password is password1, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is what it's going to look like when you log in. Okay? No matter what county is using Rome, this is the page that you're going to see whenever you log in. Now, what I want you to do, in order for us to pull like only the house that we're looking for, because again, in this example, just to recap, we're acting like 813 Rex Lane has called us and said, I want to sell you my house.
Right.
And we're trying to do some research, our due diligence, to see what they might owe on that property, what we're going to be able to make an offer for them. So we're going to, okay, 813 Rex, we're going on to County CAD, we're finding their taxes and what their legal description is. Now we're going over to the county clerk. Now, once we're in the county clerk, what we're going to do, and I'll zoom this in some for you guys, we're going to hit this advanced search right here. Now, the reason why I like advanced search is that it's going to come up with all of the specifics to really get in there and know exactly what you're searching for. I really like this Rome site. So we're looking for Shorehaven 1, Block 10, Lot 13. Okay, so I'm going to do Block 10, Lot 13. Shorehaven. Now notice I just put Shorehaven, I didn't put Shorehaven 1. The way that this search field works is that it's going to find what is like the, so say that you've got a subdivision name that's called, I don't know, Shorehaven Oaks Boulevard the 3rd or whatever. Well, what I found is that the title companies, when they're filing these things, oftentimes are very inconsistent of how they're going to spell the thing that they're filing. I think that they've got like character limits and stuff like that. So you may run into Shorehaven Oaks BLVD or Shorehaven Oaks Boulevard spelled out, or that kind of stuff. Things are going to be spelled differently quite commonly. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to usually use as little as possible while still pulling only your house. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense how I say it like that? You want to use as little of that word as possible, of your subdivision name as possible, while still pulling up your property. So in this case, I'm not doing Shorehaven 1, I'm just throwing Shorehaven in there. Okay, it's a little bit easier. Again, I'm trying to show a nice and easy example on this. We're going to hit search. Once we hit search, we're going to come down here. Oh,
I think you dyslexia'd the lots and the blocks.
I thought it was lot 13 block. Oh, lot 3. Yeah, there we go. There is no lot 13. Lot 3. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So then we're going to scroll down here, and this is the golden piece. This is where it all comes together for us. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now,
and to recap, this is the Rome site.
This is
from
the Rome,
the county clerk
this is
site.
the Rome site from the county clerk. This is showing us all of our public records, all of the public filings on this deal. Okay, which is awesome. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to organize it by recorded date. And so what that does is I just click twice. Now I've got my most recent stuff up top. I'm going to scroll out or zoom out just a little bit so you can get a little bit bigger picture of the whole view of this page. Now, what you see here is that we haven't had anything filed on this property since 2013, and the document type we did have filed in 2013 was an assignment of lien. So far, so good. In our title search route, if we're saying, hey, I'm trying to find what's wrong with this house, so far, so good. It's 2018. We're looking since 2013. Nobody's filed anything. Mechanics lien, nothing like that. The next thing down is a deed of trust. This is exactly what this is a nice, clean title for us, okay? If we look back at our county CAD for taxes, it lists the owner as Natividad Hernandez. Sorry if you're watching, Natividad.
It's public record, so we're in the clear.
Right, yes. And what we see here is that Natividad Hernandez is our grantor on the deed of trust.
Now, who owns it?
Natividad. So, just as a quick lesson here on grantor versus grantee, the grantor in a deed of trust is the person giving the deed of trust to somebody. Okay, so we've got a couple of different items that we need to consider whenever we're talking about like instruments here. Mm-hmm. we've got deeds of trust, and we've got deeds. That's all I'm going to talk about today. We'll worry about more during the title search episode to do different kinds of title or documents. But the deed is referring to the warranty deed. And what does the warranty deed do?
It gives you like the ownership.
Gives
like,
you ownership.
Hey, this is my thing.
Gives you title to the company or title to the property.
I know real estate stuff.
So when you're getting a warranty deed, let's take this a step further. I'm selling you a house, okay?
Mm-hmm. $1.
$1. You get title to the property, so you get the warranty deed. Would you be the grantor of the warranty deed or the grantee of the warranty deed?
I would be the T.
He would be the T. He is receiving that warranty deed. I, the seller, am the grantor. I'm selling the warranty or the house to him, so I'm giving him a warranty deed. Then the deed of trust. What the deed of trust says, and this is Texas here, but the deed of trust says, hey, we've got a note on this property, and via this deed of trust, I'm saying to the bank, Ryan is telling the bank, if I don't pay the note, like I said I would pay, and my note says it's $100,000 at 4.5% for 30 years. If I don't do that, you get to take the house back from me, okay? So if Ryan is giving a deed of trust to the bank, who is the grantor on that deed of trust?
The bank.
You are actually the grantor.
Oh, I wasn't listening.
I realized whenever I started asking the question, I was like, oh crap, he's giving me the I wasn't listening look. So that's how it works, is when you're with a deed of trust, the deed of trust is being given from the new owner to the bank, saying, if I don't do what I said I was going to do, you get to foreclose on me.
Right.
So the deed of trust, the grantor is the new owner, and the grantee is the bank.
Right.
And there may be somebody else listed as a grantee oftentimes. So if we dive back into this screenshot, we're going to see...
But to really kill the horse,
Yeah.
if it's your birthday and I'm giving you a gift, I am grantoring the gift to you,
Yes.
and you are granteeing the gift
Yes,
back.
yes.
Real quick, to answer your question, Jumaine, the websites are, there's two county websites. One, you need to Google your county CAD. Then you need to Google county pay my taxes online, those two websites. The third website would be your county clerk. And then when you get to the county clerk, if you are in a digital aid, if they have a website, they probably have a Rome site, and then just click on Rome, and that's where we are right now.
Absolutely. So thank you for covering that back. Okay, so let's jump back into the screen here. We've got the assignment of lien, which, by the way, the assignment of lien is real easy to follow up, right? The assignment of lien says, well, actually, I'm going to start from the other way and work ourselves up. So what we see here is that in 1998, somebody, Jose Hernandez had this house. And then in 2009, Jose Hernandez grantored the deed over to Natividad Hernandez, who was the grantee of this deed. That deed is the warranty deed. That deed is the thing that actually gives ownership to that property. It looks like at the time, Hermila Hernandez was also part of this, was getting the deed to that property. So they bought this as a married couple. That's going to be important for you guys, because as you're getting this contract on the deal, you need to look at everybody that's on the deed, because anybody that's on the deed has to sign your sales contract. You cannot just have Natividad sign it because, oh, I looked in CAD and it just shows one guy as the owner. That doesn't count legally. You need to have anybody who's actually on that warranty deed sign. Now, the beautiful thing about these digitizations is that if you look at this preview image button right here and click on that guy, it's going to show you the first page of whatever document that is. Now, in Rome, the way that Rome makes their money is they're going to charge you, I think, like $2 or $3 a page if you wanted to actually purchase the entire document. So if for some reason you're looking at this warranty deed and you're like, oh man, I really wish that there was more. I really wish that I could see the next page or whatever that is. You can buy it, and it's going to probably cost you $6 or $10. Not a big deal, but you can see that. Reason I bring that up is that in that next part that we're going to talk about with the deed of trust, sometimes the information that you need is actually on page 2. So you might have to buy it for $5, $6, something like that. But what we're looking at here is this is the warranty deed of the property. This warranty deed says that Jose and Hermila are giving the property to Natividad Oh, interesting. Did I read this wrong? Hold on. Was she the grantor? I'm sorry. Yeah. So on that deed, it was Jose and Hermila they were both grantors, and Natividad was the grantee. I misread that. Okay, so, but we saw that on the warranty deed. We see that Jose and Hermila were the grantors. They gave the property to Natividad, an unmarried person. This is how title will tell it if they are unmarried. Okay, it should say on your warranty deed an unmarried person. This is how you know that you just need that one signature to get that property bought.
So to recap up to this point, because I know the whole central theme of this is to figure out how much the owner actually owns, is we're accurately, determining who actually owns the house with county records, not just
very important.
someone so-and-so kind of owns the house,
Yeah.
but also when they were deeded the house.
Exactly.
And who is the grantee.
Exactly. Who is the bank? This is the next thing that we're going to find out.
Right.
What do they owe?
And then after that, the next thing is to find out, well, how much they owe.
How much do they owe now?
So to recap, that's what we were talking about, and we are getting to the part where it's like, hey, what's the meat? What's the money? How much they owe?
What's the meat? Do you know how much meat we've thrown out here?
I know people are enjoying it. But I will say thank you so much for watching so far. Continue watching, continue commenting, questioning, joining us in this conversation. At the end of this, we will be doing that book giveaway. We're giving away 2 books, Rich Dad Poor Dad and Richest Man in Babylon. So it's a comment picker type competition. So share it, love it, emoji it, and at the end we'll do that comment picker for the books.
The books. Is this sign language now? And Joseph, just to clarify.
This is sign language for books.
To clarify, yes, on the deed of trust, the new owner is the grantor. So again, it's the grantor on a deed of trust is the new owner. Grantee is going to be the bank or who it's owed to. On the deed, the warranty deed, the grantor is the seller. The grantee is the new buyer, the person that you're currently dealing with. Okay, so let's hop back into our screen here. So we just looked at the deed. We verified that in 2009, Natividad bought the house from Jose and Hermila, which is awesome for him. And you can see even before that, it was pretty clean. From 2009 to 1998, the last thing that was filed was a deed of trust. This is why I did a little bit of research. It's because I'm trying to show you the cleanest, because sometimes you'll see like assignments and bankruptcies and foreclosures and all kinds of stuff in between these two things. That's not what we're seeing. So we've gone back to when our seller, Natividad, that's the person who called us, this is when he bought it, was 6/24/2009. On that same day, we also see a deed of trust signed. Okay? And in this deed of trust, we see that Natividad is our grantor of the deed of trust, and our grantee is Bank of America and PR Lap Inc. Those are both grantees of this deed of trust. Now, you say, okay, there's 3 things. How do I know that these are all associated together? Well, look at this far left field. This is an instrument number, okay? Every filing has its own unique instrument number. And so on this, we see all of these are that 510 number. That means all 3 of these are that exact same document. Now, to see what they owed when they bought that house, we're going to look at a preview of that deed of trust. By clicking on the preview field, it's going to pull up the first page of the deed of trust, and voila, here we go. When they bought the house, they bought it with a loan of $55,161.
And the reason this is so impactful, because say you were able to find an old MLS, it was, it sold for 105.
That's exactly right. That's
well, if that, and I'm not saying this house was 105, but say that if you're thinking 105, but they put 50,000 down.
Yeah.
That's how we know how much is owed.
Exactly, because that is a common mistake, and I'm so glad you brought that up, because that's literally the next thing that we were going to be talking about here is the fact that you're very good at segues. The fact that a lot of times you'll go and you'll look in the MLS history and be like, oh, well, this sold for 105, they probably would owe like 90 or so, but you don't know that. Well, guess what? Public record tells you literally what their mortgage was for. I don't care what they bought it for. I care what they owe right now.
Right.
And they could have put $50,000 down. So it's very insightful. Very good point there. So we're going to look at that. We know that we've got a $55,000 loan that occurred on 6/24/2009. Okay? So now we get into our next step. We just found a giant nugget. I hope we see all kinds of fire emojis and nuggets from that.
Can I predict?
Yes.
Amortization calculator?
What? Yeah, girl.
Was that right?
Yeah, girl.
Yeah.
Going to that amortization schedule. So,
Well, because that was so impactful, can you 30-second recap what you just did?
yeah, I was about to say that because I want you guys to really appreciate what you just learned here. You just learned to tell exactly how much somebody owed when they bought their house. That's huge. That's your golden nugget. There you go. That is something that's very important to know. Now, I'm not going to act like I didn't, when I found this out, start going and searching all of my family members and friends to see how much they owed on their house.
Like, oh my God, my parents aren't as well off. Oh no, I better make some money before they, oh God. That kind of conversation.
But what we do see here, and it's just kind of interesting to know what is public record. What we do see here by looking at the deed of trust is we are going to see not what interest rate, how long, anything like that, but we are going to see the principal amount by clicking on this little preview image. We're going to see the principal amount owed on that loan.
And if it's a Bank of America or a Chase or a Wells Fargo or a big institution, logic would dictate it's not going to be an 11 or 12% loan.
Right.
If it's Grant Kemp Industries, it's probably going to be a 22% loan.
It might be. And so here's the thing is that
kidding.
the deed of trust is public record. The note is not. Okay, the note is what actually dictates the terms. And I saw somebody pop up with a question here. How do you, Paul, how do you find the terms? Well, that's kind of our next step. This is the magic that I'm showing you guys today, is that we're going to be able to guess in such an accurate manner that we will probably only be $1,000 or $2,000 off at the end of the day, even though we cannot see their note, because their note is not public record. So we don't know if it was a 30-year or a 20-year or a 15-year. We don't know what interest rate it was charged at. Okay?
Right.
But what we do know, and by the way, let me do a little sidestep here. If it's a loan modification, if they did a loan modification, the cool thing about loan mods is that they will show you the terms on that filing. So you'll see the first page and it'll tell you the principal value. If it's a loan mod and not a deed of trust in that document, the document type that you see right here where it says doc type, this will say modification instead of deed of trust. If that says modification, go ahead and pay the $6 for the entire document, because that will show you the interest rate, the terms, all of that kind of stuff is in loan mod public filings.
And then you can get within a couple of
And
dollars.
then you can get within a couple of dollars. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our newly found great nugget of information, which is that $55,100 whatever.
Right.
They got this loan originated on June 16th of 2009, okay? And then what we're going to need to do is we're going to, and here's the next magic part, this is the next big nugget, is that you need to go out and find what was the average interest rate for that week, okay? You've heard me mention this a couple of times. You've heard me mention that we've got a something called the APOR. We talk about that in different things that we're dealing with Dodd-Frank and different things that we're dealing with just in general. But the APOR is going to tell you an average. It's the average prime offer rate. Okay, so every Tuesday the number comes out from the nation that says nationwide, if you're a good borrower and you have good credit and you're going to get the prime rate on a mortgage. Last week, if we average, so like we're going to average all of Texas, we're going to average every state, and then we're going to average all those numbers together. What is that new number? That's our average prime offer rate. The average rate that a good borrower is getting across the nation every Tuesday is released.
I just want to point out that most of us are lazy as hell and will never do all this, and that's why if you are doing stuff like this, you are going to be able to beat out the lazy competition. You're going to have a leg up. So it's all about, again, when it's very competitive, it's all about trying to incrementally better your chances and having all the information you can. And if you're just joining us, what we're talking about is accurately, intuitively putting together, I don't want to say guess, because it's not guessing.
It's not a guess. It's a very accurate guess.
It's an accurate prediction.
There we go.
Using intuition and logic based off of county data. Data or data? Both. To determine how much they still owe. So if you're still joining us, please ask questions, and we love it.
So, okay, so let's jump in here. We've got our balance of $55,000 basically, June 16th, 2009. Now what you're going to do is you're going to go to ffiec.gov/rate spread, and I'm actually going to copy and paste this I'm going to put that on there for you guys to get to as well. I'm using Ryan's computer, so I get to look cool and have an official Ryan logo on that. And what we're going to look for here is we're going to just kind of ignore all this other stuff for now. And in this first paragraph, there's this link right here that says average prime offer rates, fixed or adjustable table. By clicking on that, it's going to bring us to this field. Now, I should say that this has changed. If your loan was originated after December 31st of 2017, there's a new calculator that's going to be taking place for that one. But for right now...
Zoom in.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, let me zoom in for you guys. Thank you. So there's a new calculator if their loan was done after January 1st, 2018, but it's still found right here, okay? But for right now, like, we're not going to be having people who have gotten their loans this soon before, so I'll just go into the older style, which is going to be where everybody's going to be for the most part. We click on that link, and right here we've got two tables that we're going to pay attention to. We've got APOR for fixed rate mortgages. We've got APOR for adjustable rate mortgages. Now, here's where we do have to take a leap of faith on two things. We know that 99% of the time people are getting a 30-year mortgage. We know that 99% of the time they're getting a fixed rate mortgage. Okay? Especially if this was done 2009, after the crash. Nobody gets adjustable rates after the crash. People kind of understand what happened from the crash and adjustable rates, what that did. So most of the time, and I personally have never had this bite me where I looked it up and then it turned out, oh, they did a 15-year, or oh, they did whatever, blah, blah, blah. But it could be. So this is the one like leap of faith that we're taking.
Well, let's be honest, or not honest, but let's be clear that it's not going to bite you. All you're doing is having inaccurate data and going into the negotiation table.
Bite me's probably a bad phrasing
because it's not like you're going to get screwed. It's not like you're going to lose money. You might lose the deal because you
probably won't.
Guessed wrong. Or
yeah,
whatever.
it's just one of those things where when you have this kind of data, it gives you the confidence to give those lower offers. Right? It gives you the confidence to know, hey, if they only owe 55, I can offer them 55, and they'll probably, but if I offer them 55 and they owe 80, there's no way I'm getting that deal.
Right.
You see? And actually, my first deal that I bought, because I'm a preparer, I was able to kind of impress them into, because I was able to like pull down, and I was like, well, according to public data, I'm guessing you probably owe like 68, 69,000, and they were like, yes, I do. And so then that kind of like put me a step above everybody else, because it's like, dude, I've done my work. I know what's going on with your life. Let's do this. Let's do this deal. So we're going to click. We're going to take that leap, and we're going to say probably has a fixed rate mortgage. So I'm going to click on this top field here. That's going to download a document called the yield table fixed. Now let me make this bigger for you guys. The way that this table works is it says. Let me make this a little bit larger here. The top row. Can you see that? Can you see that, guys? Yeah, I think so. We'll make it even bigger. Why not?
Like every time you open up a window, I'm like, please no porn. Please no porn.
This is Ryan's computer.
Just kidding.
The top row is the term of loan in years, and the first column is the origination date week by week. Okay? So what we need to do is we need to find what week.
June 16th, 2009.
Right, so we were June 16th, 2009. So let's go find June 16th, 2009.
And to be clear, we got this data table from
FFIEC.gov.
FFIEC.gov, rate spread, new calc spreadsheet.
So what we see here is that we're going to be between these 2 weeks. Now, remember what I said, how this rate comes out every Tuesday telling us what happened that previous week? Mm-hmm. So if we were on the 16th, we want to go to the week of the 22nd, because that's going to have averaged the previous week, which is where our loan fell. Now, I can tell you just from experience that it's row AE is for a 30-year loan. So I'm going to go over to row AE, but at the very top here, it's going to say 30, right? Because I said that top row was for the years. So
5.44.
5.44 is probably the interest rate that these guys have. Okay? Now what you'll see is that on, most of the time, anything past 30 years has basically the same interest rate. Sorry, Ryan has his trackpad wrong.
Correct.
So scrolling all over the place. So now we've got some cool data. Now we've really got something that we can work with, right? We've got their principal amount.
55-1.
We've got their date of origination.
6/19/09.
We've got what their likely interest rate was.
5.44.
And we are likely saying that it's a 30-year loan.
99% of the time.
99% of the time. So then what we're going to do is we've got a couple of different ways of going about doing this. And I'm going to teach you both ways because both come in handy in different scenarios. The first way that I'm going to show you is the old-fashioned, good old handy-dandy, let's just figure it out manually way. We have pinned this site up for you. Now, I really like this site. I use it a lot. I use it all the time because sometimes we need to know how long it has been since the origination date. There are going to be a lot of different scenarios where this pops up. Now, you may be asking, well, Grant, I can just throw this into an amortization schedule and see what they owe now. And you're right. That's the easy way of doing it. But by just showing you that, you would be missing out on the ability to fix some other problems by not knowing this other method. So I'm going to go ahead and show this other method, and then someday maybe you'll have a light click and be like, oh, holy cow, I can use this thing. Mm-hmm. So what we're going to do is we're going to say from, what was it, June 16th?
09.
So I'm actually going to say that the first payment really would have been most likely August, but we're going to go with July on this just to overshoot a little bit. To June 1st, because I want to know, like, up into this month, when they've paid this month, how many months has that been? Mm-hmm. Well, since then, it has been 8 years and 11 months. We're just about 9 years.
8 times 12.
8 times 12 is something.
96.
8 times 12
plus
is
11.
96 plus 11. So we're 107 payments in. Mm-hmm. Okay? So let's do this.
Amortization, or, yeah.
Let's go to our 10B2 handy-dandy calculator now. So I just did 8 times 12 plus 11, means that we're 107 payments in. So I'm just going to write off to the side, 107 is how far we're in. Now, what we do is we're going to put in the information that we have. So we know that we've got, and just as a recap on this calculator, I'm using this calculator a lot, so y'all are going to see these things popping up. Top row is all that matters. Going left to right, we've got number of payments, not number of years. So like a 30-year loan is 360. Mm-hmm. We've got interest per year. We've got principal value, which really stands for present value, but we're going to say principal. We've got payment. We've got final value. Okay, those are the only 4 buttons that we really care about on that top row. If you find 4 of those items, this calculator will solve for the 5th one for you. The nice thing is FV, for our purposes, will always be 0. Mm-hmm. So now we only need 3 items, and it will solve for the other one.
So interest, we know, is 5.44.
So interest, we're going to say was 5.44. We're going to say it was a 30-year mortgage, so we're going to go for 360. And our balance was $55,161. And that would make their payment $311 a month. PI. This is only principal and interest. This isn't including taxes and insurance. But all we care about when we're finding a balance of a loan is the principal and interest.
Right.
So now by using this calculator, I'm going to hit the orange button, and that top right button now becomes something called amort. So by clicking on that, it's going to bring up an amortization schedule. I'm going to go 107 payments down. You can see the number on the far left. It says 107. That field says our balance would now be $46,776. Boom. Guess what? That is your current balance for this seller without them ever telling you a word about what has gone on here. Mm-hmm. This is when we throw the confetti on the video and we put the nuggets and we celebrate. Dude, we just found out exactly what these guys owed without them ever telling us anything. Through our sleuthiness, through our intelligence, through our resourcefulness, through public records, all of these cool things, we are able to figure out what they owe.
So let's do a 30-second recap to get to here.
Yeah.
So we have a lead, we have an address, we have a name, but that's irrelevant. But we have a contact if we're going. From there, we Google. Well, hopefully we don't have to Google which county you live in or where the property is. But you go, okay, we go to the county CAD for wherever that subject property is. Then you also Google, or you should already have a tab, but the whole pay my taxes online, whatever website that is. From there, I'm able to get my legal description, and I'm also, what was the data we got from the tax
We got the legal description, and then we briefly discussed how to look for exemptions on your taxes. To make sure that you're not calculating that into your deal.
And then from there, we went to the county clerk to get to the Rome site to figure out the date of deed, who the deed's to, what the underlying the loan was for. We can't get the terms, but we can get the date, and then we go to our 10B2.
And after that, after we got the date, then we go and we look at FFIEC.gov.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
So that we can figure out what the interest rate was on their loan, most likely. And then we're assuming that they did a 30-year because all the time they do 30 years. Then we're going to the 10B2 and we're inserting all that data into that field for us.
And to me, I've never heard of the FFIEC.gov because I've always just said, 6%-ish. Well, like when giving those predictions, because anytime I've ever run predictions, it's been wrong.
Right.
Because I just go off of what it looks like on the deed, whatever.
Well, and here's one thing that I want to point out, and one reason why I was pulling it up on this calculator for you to begin with is that even with semi-inaccurate, so like how I'm saying, like, dude, this is going to get you really close. Let's go back to the screen here. Let's look at this calculator. Let's say that they're 12 months behind, even, right? So they haven't even made payments for 12 months. Well, we're in payment 107 now. That would put us back to their principal balance would be the same as from payment 95. Right? Because they stopped paying their principal balance down at payment 95. Well, guess what? At payment 95, their balance was $47,900. Right now, their balance should be $46,700. So we're only off by like $1,000. Even if they're a year behind on payments, we're only off. So typically, maybe they're only 6 months behind. We might only be off by $700. That's enough to make an offer that's going to hit what they need to hear. You know what I'm saying? Let's look at it another way. Let's say that we did take the Ryan route and we just did 6%.
Why is it going to be the round route?
Because that's what you said. If it's only 6% that we ran
Calling me out on live Facebook? Come on now.
Dude, look. If we did 6%, payment 107 would be $47,416. We're only off by $300.
Right.
So what I'm saying here is that the fact that we're able to get these averages gets us really stinking close.
Right.
Now, the fact that we know what that average was 5.44, that gives us a really educated guess because you're not going to likely see an interest rate that's more than a point or two either way from that average. Most likely, especially with a Bank of America loan or a Wells Fargo loan, it's going to be within plus or minus 1 or 2 points on either side. And that doesn't affect your principal balance too much. That gives you plenty of room to know, do these guys owe 55? Can I make a $60,000 offer, or do they owe 90?
So as we're getting closer to the end here, keep those questions, keep those thought processes coming, because again, I think it's fairly obvious what we just discussed. But now, what I would like to gravitate towards is, now that I have that information, how can I use that to my advantage over, say, investor Steve over here, who doesn't know, and he's just shooting from the hip.
Well, and I think that we briefly touched on both of the ways that I would say to use that, right? One being, if you show them, like, I literally printed off the deed of trust, for that first house that I bought, because again, I was nervous. I wanted to feel prepared. I printed that off, and I was able to put in front of them, like, here's a copy of your deed of trust that I found. It looks like you owe about 55. I'm going to be able to offer you 60 on this, right? So it kind of cuts through all the garbage and that kind of stuff. And then if they don't owe that, then they're going to fight to tell you what they owe. Anthony Bourdain actually gave us a really wise bit of knowledge of, like, when you want to know, his quote was, if you ever want to know somebody's recipe, the easiest way to find out is to guess wrong. And so a lot of times that can work the same way with somebody's loan balance or their interest rate. If you guess wrong, a lot of times they're like, oh, no, that's not right. Mine is actually blah, blah, blah. So that would be one way. But the other way is that exactly, what we were saying, like, now you know that your offer can be reasonable if you're around that area. But if you're really far off, let's say that you need to make a $60,000 offer, you see that they owe 55 or 46, I'm sorry, you need to make a $50,000 offer, you see that they owe 46, you're probably square. But you need to make a $50,000 offer and they probably owe 65. Well, now you can go to them with a pitch that I love, which is for subject to, and you're going to say, look, I can buy this with cash, but in order for me to buy it with cash, I'm going to have to come in at a discount. And frankly, my cash offer is going to be so far below what you actually owe, it's probably not going to make sense. And I'll tell you, no cash buyer in this Metroplex is going to be able to buy your house because we all have to have the same kind of discount. None of the cash buyers are going to be able to do that. However, because I'm good at what I do and because I study and because I know how things are going, I do have a way that I can buy your house if you're willing to sell for what you owe.
Yeah, and what I'm hearing additionally is because 80-90% of the competition is going to be going the cash buyer route, you also can throw that cash buyer route out there just to be have one of the options. But if you already know that 70% of solutions that are being offered to them, 90% of the time, I'm sorry. If you already know that the majority of the offers offered to them are not going to work, then you can already start game planning it and really making that deal over here sweet, and to the point where you know they're going to take it because it hits everything they need to hit.
Exactly. This is a great way to discern without having to spend, because a lot of times I have people, like for me, negotiation is one of my big strengths, but that's not everybody's big strength. My big strength was not negotiation when I started. In fact, that was probably my biggest weakness was negotiation. So having something like this to where I didn't have to pull all the information out of them to tell if I needed to do a subject to offer or a cash offer, this could tell me exactly that example before. It's like, hey, if I need a $50,000 cash offer and they owe 65, I'm going sub 2.
Yeah, the point I was making though is like, because usually if you're making several, and you should never make one offer. You should make 2 to 3 offers. A cash offer, a finance offer. But each one of those offers need to be thought out. But if you already know that 1 and 2 are not going to work, you could put them on the table to try to the Harry Arm principle, kind of move them over there, and the majority of your time really spell out a sexy offer that you know will work for their needs and benefit you as well.
And I'm actually going to, and this is a prime example of the fact that everybody buys differently. I'm actually going to respectfully disagree with making 2 or 3 offers at a time. I think that you should make one offer, hammer that offer until they absolutely say no, and then offer another offer. You should be prepared to make 2 or 3 offers. You should know how to make those different offers. But in my experience, what I've seen with, and again, this is a prime example of how different negotiations work for different people. What I've seen in my experience is that if you put 2 or 3 offers in front of somebody, the likelihood that they say, I need to sleep on it, and you can't get them to sign on a contract goes up quite a bit. Because
why you got to come in here and call me out?
I'm saying I respectfully disagree in that might be the right option for your negotiation.
I respectfully have hair. Just kidding. No, yeah, Grant's absolutely right. There's always multiple solutions. There's always multiple route strategies. That strategy right there is actually Daniel's strategy. So you're not calling me out. That's Daniel. Okay. So you can go head to head with him.
I never said it was wrong. I said it doesn't work for me. I said that you should.
No, but the point being is find your niche, find your strategies that work. Always be learning. Try it out. If it doesn't work for you, it's all good.
So let's hop back onto the screen for one last thing, because I'm going to show you the easy way to figure out the calculations of what I just did. I put a comment out there with this calculator for you guys. All the websites that you can use will have comments pinned up in this comment section for you. So like this one you can use, the year, month, day calculator you can use, the ffiec.gov you can use. Those will all be pinned. The other ones you've got to do your Google searches to find on that. But what I did is I put our loan terms in here. 360 payments for a 30-year mortgage, 5.44%, and then I hit calculate. That came up to this payment amount here, which we've got, actually that came on, Zoom.
Oh.
Zoom.
First of all, how is this Zoom? Zoom. It's like, Zoom, can't see it. Anyway.
That's awesome.
The secrets of live broadcasting.
So we're going to go to our first payment date of being 2009 in July. Calculate that out and see, why is it giving me it's giving me the wrong payment date? Did I do something wrong, or I'm having to use a different calculator because the calculator that I normally use was not pulling up for me.
Well, I don't understand.
It's showing me my payment amount is $785. My payment amount should be $330. It is far miscalculating this.
Wait, go up. Loan date. First date.
Well, maybe I'm not going to show you this side. I actually like using the bank rate calculator that lets you do Let me see if I can have it pull up.
This would be a
time.
great opportunity to point out that Dan Diaz from San Antonio respectfully says you're wrong.
Does he do the
negotiation, the 2 to 3 things.
I contract 85% of the houses that I go to. Let me just throw that out there real quick. Okay, so let's see if I can put a date in here for this one. Let's see, it's $55,161. Mortgage term in years or months, 5.44. They changed this. Actually, if Chris Mays, is Chris Mays watching? And this is even coming up with it wrong too. He has a amortization schedule that is better on this.
Chris Mays.
But it wasn't pulling up for me the way that I wanted it to.
And question.
Yeah, no, it's not going to work. Okay, well, hey, just learn how to do it the manual way like I showed you the first time.
Boom.
This is one of the reasons. Oh, well, you know what? This is a great teachable moment, though. A lot of times
I love it when you're like, when your data is not right, it's a teachable moment.
Well, because here's the thing. I told you that this is the way that I would do it, but then I was going to show you how to do it on the website. I have people all the time, like when I encourage them to download the 10B2, they're like, oh, yeah, well, I just use so-and-so calculator online, or I use whatever, the mortgage calculator that I got for free from the App Store, or whatever. If you're not using a legit, actual financial calculator, you don't know the formulas that they're using. You don't know. For instance, that first site we went to is just flat wrong. I don't understand what's going on with that. I mean, maybe somebody can call me out for something that I was putting on there wrong, but it's just flat wrong. You need to know how to use this 10B2 because with a 10B2, you can go into and out of the equation starting at any point and find all the numbers you need. So let's ignore even trying to use a website because clearly that's not working the way that I thought it might work for you, and just take the first example from it.
So the weekly plug of buy the 10B2 app.
It's like $5 on the App Store, which if you're getting into investing, you should be able to afford the $5, hopefully, to get an app. That's going to make it's going to make you all your money in the world.
I will say, I spent $40 on one of those apps that allows me to put text on pictures.
$40?
I don't know.
Why though?
I'm like, because I'm youthful and I'm
That's
social
funny.
media savvy.
Well, cool, guys. Okay, so that being said, that was the last thing that I was going to wrap it up with. So y'all have seen some really cool stuff this episode on how to tell what your seller owes before even talking to them, without them. If they want to withhold information for them, forget them. Don't let them withhold information. Go find it. Go find it yourself. This is how you're going to calculate it out.
Yeah, it's pretty meaty, so if you were popping in, popping out, or only caught a little bit of it, rewatch it. Tag yourself in here. Hey, I need to watch this later. Hold yourself accountable. Watch the episode just because it is meaty and it is data-filled. If you read some of the comments, you'll see that everybody was like, holy crap, that's good information. Let's get to some of the questions. Gotta love Daniel. He's like, I can't hear Grant. It's like...
Yeah, he comes in. What did I miss?
Yeah, what did I miss? Where's the meat?
Where's the meat?
Yeah. What was the app? The app is the 10B2 calculator.
10BII is how it's going to look. If you, if we get a shot of the screen, I'll show you. If you want to show this top left app on my screen right now. Can we get a shot of the screen for everybody? That top left app that you see right there.
10B.
Ignore that I have Pinterest on there. Don't judge me. But 10BII, that's the one that you want to look for. It works for iOS and for Android.
Sweet. So let's go over to the comment picker. Or do you want to do it since on?
Yeah.
Just go to a.
I don't know how to use
I don't
a
know
computer.
how to do it. I don't know what's going on. Don't do it yet. Comment picker. That way people know we're not just, whatever. I messed up.
Uh-oh.
And,
all right, so while we're looking for these comments, guys, if you like what you're seeing here, I enjoy teaching. I love showing you guys this kind of stuff. You can follow me at Creative Cashflow at CCF Mentors, but also CreativeCashFlow.com. I have like a step-by-step, like everything that we're going into with beautiful slides, multi-camera, all that kind of stuff to teach you how you can do the title searches, how you can negotiate, how you can get your subject to deals. I get really deep into the owner financing, subject to side of things. So check me out, CreativeCashFlow.com, if you're interested in learning. And I do a weekly live Q&A for all my students every Monday night as well.
So let's, Mr. Travion, let's go to the screen real quick so people can see. So we've got 124 comments, and first book will be Ryan Harper. Propelio. We win. Okay, let's pick another one, and let's refilter, just so we get more. Say 2 more opportunities.
Nice.
It's gonna be Brando or Daniel. And
Lacey.
She just won last time. Anyway, so we'll do one more. Lacey, we'll get you a book just because we appreciate you watching.
Heck yeah, Lacey.
Propelio, sorry, you do not get to win a book. And
come on.
What the hell? Daniel, no, you don't get. You can buy your own book. Well, technically,
on top of buying their book.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
What? He didn't even watch it. He came into the library. This comic picker is not very random. People are like, okay,
Jeremy Miller.
All right, cool.
Gold. That's what he got.
That's what we got.
Oh, it tells us the comment that they win for.
Oh,
he wins for saying gold.
Wow, I didn't know that.
That's
so,
awesome.
Lacey, you're going to get a book.
Woo!
Jeremy, you're going to get a book. Either y'all can pick from either Rich Dad Poor Dad, the original, or the Richest Man in Babylon.
Which I will throw out real quick. Rich Dad Poor Dad, a lot of people, hate on it. It's not a how-to. It's a motivational book. But, hey, man, that was the first thing that I read that made me go, you know what, maybe I am going to do real estate. And it got me going. So that's why I said, let's do Rich Dad Poor Dad.
I just want to point out the irony of Daniel winning 2 in a row right there. Because didn't he win 2 in a row? He's about to have twins. So, 2 books for 2 kids.
2 books for 2
anyway.
kids.
Oh, sweet. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. We're always trying to bring you the best stuff we can. If you have ideas for what you would like to learn about or have Grant or Daniel or probably not me because I'm dumb, get into more detail of, again, I don't know why I say that because I'm looking for feedback. And it's just cameras. It's not like I can hear people going, aw. But anyway, we're here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Looking forward to bringing you the best content we can, be as genuine and real as possible without the subtleties of buy my shit at the end. That said, Propelio.com, if you need access to MLS or access to true MLS comps, if you need access to off-market lead lists, and if you need access to an investor-friendly website, check out Propelio.com. It's only $89 a month, and we're in multiple markets. So if you are in a market and you're wanting to expand into other markets, it only makes sense to sign up with Propelio. It's only $89. Subtle plug, Creative Cash Flow.
Yeah, again, CreativeCashFlow.com. I do training on there. I also do personal mentoring. So if you want somebody to hold your hand a little bit harder on that kind of stuff, then I can hold hands with anybody. I can do... I'm actually interviewing somebody for personal mentoring out of Israel right now who is investing in, where is he investing? Cleveland. Interesting. So, yeah, I've got a really cool remote setup and that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in personal mentoring, you're interested in learning from me, CreativeCashFlow.com would be where to go.
And as far as events, our next meetup in DFW is July 10th. We are still actively trying to find venues in Houston, San Antonio, and Austin. Just because we're trying to bring the coolness down back to you guys. The last time we were in San Antonio and Houston were amazing successes, and we're trying to repeat that and then also introduce Austin. So be on the lookout for that. When that does get announced, we will be coming in force with the coolness.
Heck yeah.
So anyway, thanks again. Slow-mo high five out.
Boo, boo, boo.
Wow.